The elliptical expansiveness that can exist between two cuts is an extremely powerful tool that is unique to cinema as an art form. The edit from one shot to the next can communicate a seamless transition of time, as in the conventional shot reverse shot. This cut is a necessary tool when a director is trying to show you multiple points of observation within space during a scene. The inverse effect of the seamless edit is the elliptical edit, which allows for a portion of time to be cut out of a narrative in order to place the viewer in the next vantage point for understanding the flow and scope of the story. Lately, I've been fascinated by films in which the director and their editor choose to make the authorial gambit of an expansive elliptical cut, skipping over many years and major events in characters' lives, and doing so in a rich, aesthetically moving way while still retaining audience comprehension and narrative momentum. This past week, I watched Josef von Sternberg's 1932 pre-code film Blonde Venus, starring Marlene Dietrich and Herbert Marshall. Dietrich plays a former cabaret singer and actress who, after her chemist husband Ned, Herbert Marshall, is diagnosed with terminal radiation, returns to the stage to earn enough money for him to receive experimental treatments in Dresden. The film is a very effective melodrama with some extremely memorable musical numbers performed by Dietrich, and the black and white photography by Sternberg cinematographer Bert Glennon here has the textural silkiness of a Monet painting. Like so many great films from the silent era up to the late 1950s, it seems like you can research the cinematographer for any film you put your finger on, and end up finding that they were responsible for some of the most monumental films of their era. Bert Glennon was a longtime collaborator with John Ford, and shot not only Stagecoach, but also Young Mr. Lincoln. But the part of this film I want to discuss, and which has now been stuck in my craw since I saw it in the first 5 minutes, makes up the prologue to the main action of the film. While on holiday in Germany, Ned and his fellow students stumble upon a pond hidden among Arcadian forestry, where several young women, Dietrich's Helen, one of them, are bathing in the nude. Ned is immediately smitten, and the two exchange witty, verbal spars with one another. The scene then ends in her rebuking his flirtations and swimming off. From this shot of Helen's legs kicking away from Ned, Sternberg uses a graphic match cut to a young boy splashing around in a bathtub and a curiously abstract overhead shot that lasts for an inordinately long amount of time. I personally love when films of this period revel in little observational milieux like this because, it reveals a level of human interest outside of the performative artifice, we usually associate with the melodrama. We are destabilized from the prior, linear, seamless motion of time we experienced in the pond scene, and must now ask, who is this child? How long ago was that last scene? And where are we now? The next shot, after the tub, reveals we are no longer in the Eden paradise of the Germanic forests, but now in the industrialized and bustling world of modern New York City. Modern for the time the film came out, of course. The POV from a moving ship functions not only as a useful expository vantage point, but also as metaphoric connective tissue between the two previous shots of Helen and the young boy in the tub. We learn in the next shot, by Helen's attire and her obvious relationship as mother to this boy, that many years have passed, and many miles apart are now between the scene in the pond and where the film has now placed us. The pond transforming into the tub acts as a playful euphemism for Ned and Helen's transition from the sexual freedom of untamed wilderness to the domestic stasis of a manufactured body of water that culminates in the creation of their own child. I'm sure Ned's position as a chemist is not lost on this fluid-centric metaphor. The pictorial simplicity and emotion that connects and separates these two shots using bodies of water proves to be a very moving testament to the power of the edit. In so few strokes, Sternberg communicates such a large leap in time with such simple visuals, representing a creative economy that is lost sometimes in more modern cinema, where a fear of audience confusion usually contributes to a much messier and unrefined visual aesthetic, especially in cases of editing. I won't focus too long on it, but this particular elliptical edit in Blonde Venus reminded me of a similar one I've been absolutely haunted by lately from Paul Thomas Anderson's 2007 epic There Will Be Blood. This is a modern film, yet one obviously drenched in the formal classicism of the era in which Sternberg's film was produced. It is bookmarked structurally by two large elliptical edits that jump several years into and then out of the middle and longest time frame of the film, which is where most of the plot resides. Before the final violent movement of the film, It shifts focus for a few brief minutes from its main character Daniel Plainview and instead focuses on his adopted son HW in a short montage of scenes where we watch him learn to communicate through sign language and watch him bond with Mary Sunday. It ends with the two taking turns jumping off a small platform and a wide static shot. In the shot immediately following it, Anderson and his editor Dylan Tichenor quite literally jump 16 years into the future, where the two children are now being wed to one another as full-grown adults. The upward movement of the camera counters the prior shot's downward jump, representing a transcendence on the part of the two characters from the dark subterranes their families come from, whether it be that of puritanical closed-mindedness or, in the case of his father Daniel, capitalistic degradation. Both quite literal holes that are hard to get out of. It's a disarming but absolutely stunning and poetic portrayal of innocent childhood transforming into an independent adulthood, and it's just another way cinema's mechanics of editing can be used to communicate seemingly inexpressible truths about the passage of time and the achingly painful and beautiful speed at which our lives change and move ahead of us in just the blink of an eye. This has been Nemo's Film Diary. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll make some more of these because this was kind of fun to do. So have a good day, and thank you.